Good morning, friends. How are you? Today we will study other modes of nutrition in plants. Earlier we have studied that plants that are they are autotrophs, which means they prepare their own food with the help of sunlight, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and many other things. For example, water. And you know very well, my friends, that they prepare carbohydrate, and this carbohydrate is stored in form of glucose, and this glucose later converts into starch. And where does this all happen? This all happen in the leaves of plant. So there are some other plants which do not have chlorophyll, which is the green pigment due to which the plants look green and the sunlight gets trapped. So some plants do not have chlorophyll, and they are also called parasite, and they are also called saprophytes. So now let's learn that what is the difference between parasite and saprophytes. So let's start today's class. And first at all, there is an example that cascuta you also know is at dodder. So dodder is a parasite since it deprives its nutrition from some other living organisms and causes harm to to that organism. The plant on which it grows is known as the host. Okay, so here mainly there are two things. One is cascuta, and the other is the plant on which it grows. Okay, so so now here the cascuta. What is the cascuta? This cascuta is known as parasite. This cascuta is known as parasite, and the plant on which it grows is known as the host. Here it is written, the plant on which it grows is known as the host. Okay, so, so cascuta is basically thin, what do you say, string like structure, which you can see on many plants, wrapping the plants around with it. I will show you the image very soon. So let's proceed to the next. Insectivorous plants. There are plants that feed on insects for their nitrogen requirements. You know very well, friends, that plants cannot take the atmospheric nitrogen directly. They have to convert it into nitrates, and this process of conversion of nitrogen into nitrates is known as nitrogen fixation, and is done by a special bacterium called rhizobium present in the roots of leguminous plants such as peas, etc., etc. Okay, so so there are some plants that are leguminous but they lack the presence of rhizobium bacteria. one such One such example is pitcher plant. Friends, you may have seen or may not be that there are some plants which do like this, which look like this. They look like this. They look like a small bucket with a covering over the top. And my friends, that what is the bucket like structure? That is the leaf, in fact, leaf of that plant, which gets modified to form a pitcher. Okay, and the pitcher with a lid. Okay, the lid is able to close and open the mouth of the pitcher. It looks like this. If we see it from the first angle, it looks like this, something like this. And this is the lid, this is the pitcher. Okay, and so this lid gets closed over the pitcher and the insects get trapped in it. But this is not all. There is a very vast and complex process by which the organism gets trapped, or the fly, insect, whatever, enters in it gets trapped. Okay, so let's study that what is the vast process. Here it is written that the lid the lid is able to close the mouth of the pitcher. The pitcher is lined with downwards pointing hairs. When an insect enters, it cannot climb back out against the hair and ultimately falls to the bottom of the leaf and gets digested by the juices present there. Such insect eating plants are known as insectivorous plants. Okay, so basically what happens here is that on the leaves there are some needle like structure. Okay, and the needle like structure are pointing downwards, and when an insect falls when an insect falls to it and it tries to climb back out, the downward pointing hair gets stuck to its body and you know harms the insect, and the insect is not able to climb out. Okay, and you know that at the bottom of the pitcher there is some sweet rum like a liquid, which due to which it smells sweet, and when the lid is open it smells sweet outside also, its smell goes outside also, and the insects get attracted and they fall to it. But it is not the thing you are looking for. It is actually the enzymes, digestive enzymes, which digest the organism or the insect. It makes the whole insect digest within hours, within days. Okay, so this was the concept of insectivorous plants. Now let's move on. Yeah, I promised you to that I will make you see the cascota and the pitcher plants images of them. So here this is the cascota. I said that it is string like structure which grow on plants. So here you can see that it is plant and the cascota is growing on it. So it is now parasite. What is it? It is parasite. Okay, and this is the insectivorous plant known as pitcher plant. I said that there is a lid on it which covers the pitcher of the pitcher of the plant, and this pitcher is actually the leaves of the pitcher plant which gets transformed to the pitcher. So down when an insect enters into it, so as I said, when an insect enters into it, the lid gets closed, and here it is also what downward pointing needle like structure which do not allow the insect to climb out back. Okay, so they were these were the they were the pictures. Now let's proceed to the next, saprotropic mode of nutrition. Okay, I said to you, my friends, that at the last I will discuss what is the difference between parasitic mode of nutrition and saprotropic mode of nutrition. So let's now see this. Sapros means rotten and tropic means food. The meaning of tropic you have understood earlier also. Okay, meaning of sapros is rotten and tropic means food. Okay, saprotropic saprotropic nutrition is the process in which the organism feed on dead and decaying matter. The food gets digested outside the cells or sometimes even outside the body of the organism. This type of digestion is called extracellular digestion. The organism secretes digestive juices directly onto the food. These direct digestive juices make the food soluble. The organism then directly absorbs it. Some organisms which have saprotropic modes of nutrition are rhizobus, bread mold, mucor, pin mold, yeast, agaricus, and many bacteria. Okay, so here after reading this, you may have understand that mushroom is also a saprophyte. Mushroom is also a saprophyte, and you should know, my friends, that there are only some variations of mushroom that is edible and the others are not. So and there is a very famous red hat mushroom, on which the upper part of the mushroom is red with white spots. So that is the most dangerous mushroom in the world. You shouldn't even eat it or even think about eating it. It is very dangerous. Don't eat it. It is very poisonous, in fact. Okay. So here now let's proceed that what is the difference between parasitic and saprotropic mode of nutrition. So basically parasitic mode of nutrition, the plants which have the plants or the organism that have parasitic mode of nutrition, they grow on living organisms. They grow on living organisms as shown earlier in the cascata. They grow on living trees or living shrubs, bushes, etc. But this mushroom, agaricus mushroom, rhizobius, many others, grow on dead and decaying matter. Dead, the things that are dead and going to decompose, they grow on that matter only. And you know my friend, that how do they get food from the dead and decaying matter? They secrete the digestive juices on the food. The food gets soluble and then they directly absorbs it. Okay, so what I've said, they secrete digestive juices on the food. Imagine that this is the food of them. They secrete the digestive juices onto it, and when the food gets into soluble form, they directly absorbs it. They directly absorb it, and all is good. Okay, and my friends, that these types of digestion is called extracellular digestion. Okay.